Welcome to the Rocket Roof Show, where we equip fellow roofers to do more commercial business every first and third Thursday of the month. It's time to launch your business to the next level.
This is Project Command. Stand by at power transfer.
3, 2, 1, blast off!
Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the Rocket Roof Show. Today we have in our studio, actually across the country in North Carolina, Justin Woodruff from Ready Roofing. Before we get into that, I want to give a quick shout out to the company that helps us sponsor this show because there's a lot of upfront costs. We need a little bit of help with that. So company Top Roof Marketing, which I've been working with for about 3 or 4 years with a lot of my SEO website, branding, and just a lot of the technical jargon that I don't understand. They help me out with all that stuff. So go ahead and check out toproofmarketing.com, and I'm pretty sure you'll find all the information you need there to get your roofing business off and running, specifically to commercial. And that's really what the show is all about, is upping your commercial game, bringing on guests, movers and shakers and experts in the industry that can help you to up your game in commercial by educating and equipping contractors in the commercial roofing game. So once again, welcome Justin Woodruff from the Ready Roofing Company. You got a little bit of cold today, so I'll take it easy on you as far as the high pressure questions or anything like that. But
yeah, I might have to cough every now and then, and I'm a little nasally, but we'll make it through it. So
that's okay. Keep your coffee close by, and
that's right. Yeah.
So if you could just kind of give us a recap of maybe start back. You haven't been in roofing for too awful long. And where'd you come at from before roofing, this little stint, and then how did you get into roofing?
Yeah, I was actually hanging TVs and stuff, man. So I was like hanging TVs and doing home theaters and like whole house audio and kind of a bunch of geeky, nerdy stuff that actually I loved. I still love it. And just that industry was kind of shrinking down with all the DIY stuff. So, 2017, early 2017 is when I formed Ready Roofing, but I had actually kind of started in roofing with another gentleman like in 2016. So basically roughly around 3 years now. So we've gone from nothing to almost $10 million in revenue, within 3 years. And, it's really just been incredible. But yeah, I was hanging TVs and doing tech support, man, and stuff like that. And it just really wasn't, scalable. So.
Yep. So I don't know if you told me this, but one of your head guys told me this when I was in Carolina visiting you, and he said that one day your dad said, and I hope I'm okay of saying this, but your dad said, why don't you try out roofing? There's good money in roofing. And you're like, I don't want to be a roofer. I ain't doing roofs. And he's like, no, you don't do the roofs. You own the roofing company, which is a totally different concept, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my father-in-law, so he's been roofing for 40 years. He actually has a hammer that's like beat sideways from where he always would have a habit of like nailing like that. And so the hammer is probably 30 years old or something, or longer than that, ever since he started. So almost 40-year-old hammer he's got, and it's like whittled down. But anyway, this guy, he's pretty rough, right? He's like alligator skin and stuff, and always been in the sun and roofing. And he had mentioned it earlier on, like, oh, you should get into roofing. And I just remember thinking like, oh man, I don't want to do that, like dirty roofer,
Yep.
And it was only like probably, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago or something. He's like, no, you should get into selling it because you're good at selling,
Yep.
And then that's when it kind of hit me. That's when I guess like the seed got planted, like, oh, well, yeah, maybe so.
Yeah.
And then eventually got into it, like I said, in 2016 with another gentleman. And, he actually ended up quitting on me and getting out of it, left me high and dry. But it's actually a really neat story that I have, honestly. So I'll be speaking at the SRC Summit coming up and then storming to the new era, and I'll be telling this exact story. But yeah, it's really interesting because 3 years ago, I would have never, ever thought I would be, I would own a roofing company and have 25 employees.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. And some guys look at guys like me or you that they see a lot of presence on social media and they just like, oh, that guy doesn't have any struggles. That guy, everything just smooth sailing for him. And it's not like we're going to get on there and show all of our struggles every day, but there's definitely like this up and down. And, you had a couple places back a few years ago where you just didn't know if you were going to make it through the season, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of ups and downs. Everybody on Facebook and social media, they always like to post like their good times, and it's just it's not always good times. That's just not how it is, It's there's bad times. In fact, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not having a great day today.
Yep.
It's a little bit slower around Christmas, and when you run a company this size, revenue's got to be going. So we probably won't start boosting back up till mid-January. But what I'm getting at is there's bad days, and that's okay. But to answer your question, in 2018, I almost went bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
In 2017 is when actually I was doing builder work in 2017 earlier on, and I almost gave up on it because it was so slow to pay. Everybody wanted to pay you in 90 days or whatever, and then there was always something wrong, and I just didn't know if it was going to work out. And then a hailstorm hit actually the day that my daughter was born, and that hailstorm was actually what led me into the hard times that came up in 2018 when I almost went bankrupt. I had no money in the bank, but it was all for good reasons, really. I went out and sold 38 roofs in a week of the hailstorm by myself, and then more after that. Well, the problem was I'd paid the roofer, I'd paid the supplier, I'd paid everybody but myself. And it was this time in 2017 when nobody was answering the phone. Nobody was the insurance companies just weren't answering. They weren't picking up. I couldn't get any money in, but everybody else was paid except for me. And then next thing you know, here comes an American Express bill due and all these other bills, that were due that I had to pay. And, I couldn't do it. So I was like belly up, man, feeling really bad for myself. And, actually called a good friend of mine over who's actually the president of our company now, and told him what had happened. I had it all on a spreadsheet, and it looked so horrible. And he just flipped it around, just a total mind shift for me. I was like, dude, this is great. He's like, how did you do all this? I'm like, what do you mean, man? I'm like, I'm in financial ruin. This is not the way I wanted this to be. And, I'm feeling sorry for myself. And he said, dude, you went out and sold all this and you just got to collect it now? He's like, well, get to collecting, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was hard, man. That sucked. That really.
And you're probably really good at collecting, right?
Say again?
Are you pretty good at collecting?
I got good at collecting.
Almost as good as you are maybe sales?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I have a red shirt that I wear, and the people in the office actually call it my money collecting shirt because I can hey, we need money for whatever, and I can go out and come back with $50,000 and just be like, man, where'd you get that? Like,
yeah, that's right.
I got my money collecting shirt on today. It's like,
So I was feeling sorry for myself, early on 2018, and then after that, man. My wife actually said, well, if we fail together. Yeah. And that was all I needed. She gave me permission to fail, and I went. I took off, and I started collecting. I hired a sales guy, Will Jordan, you met him, and we started collecting all that money. So within 2 months, I collected, or I paid off $150,000 in debt that I had and got out of the hole, and then created what we have today, which is a team of great people here at Ready Roofing. But that's what I needed. I needed that to realize that I needed the back end office and the accounts receivable department and all that type of stuff. So which I didn't have. I was trying to just do it all myself.
And I like what you said a minute ago about the economy's good, sometimes the economy's bad. I was just having this discussion with my production manager this afternoon about people ask me about up economies, down economies. What do you do? Da da da. And I always tell people, I'm on God's economy. I don't know if you, if whoever believes in what in here, but you got to kind of believe that it's going to happen, it's going to work, and you can't just think your fate's going to be up to whatever economy you're in at that time.
Right.
Like you said, you were in a hard state, and here comes a hailstorm, and
yeah, that's right.
That's a door come wide open. And but God doesn't just give it to you, right? Like you got to do the work. You still got to go out and do that hard work and make it happen. So
yeah,
how many locations are you at right now?
We have 3 now.
So let me ask you a specific question to growth. What would you say maybe 1 or 2 specific factors that lent to how you've grown so fast? Because I know a lot of contractors, myself included, you've done in 2 or 3 years what has taken me 20. I mean, you've already outpaced me. And give me a couple of pointers on what you think you can lend your success to.
I would say listening and then implementing, and extreme delegation. being able to delegate and, get a good team together and put people in place that you could trust that are going to do what they're supposed to do.
Yep.
And then also processes and procedures and, things like that, where when you see a problem, you correct it and you don't let it continue bleeding. And then you create, those policies and procedures, listening and implementing, to industry professionals like yourself. You've helped me a ton. You helped me get into spray coatings,
Yep.
So, listening, implementing, extreme delegation, because you can't do it all yourself. And then having all the tools available to you, like CRMs and like company cam for, taking pictures and photo documentation and things like that. And really not being able to be afraid to spend a little bit of money, doing stuff like that. So that's really what's got us there, man.
I think it's a lot of people that are in roofing. They have this whole mentality like, man, I don't want to spend $2,000 and it not work.
Yeah.
But you could spend $2,000 and it could turn the light switch on to everything and find out that, wow, this, that 2,000 made me 100,000. But some people are too hung up on, I could spend $2,000 and totally waste my money. Yeah, you could. But
well, it's like at the Ford factory, the Chevrolet factory, right? They have a machine that's stamping out fenders and doors. And that machine works and that process works and it renders the same result every single time. And a lot of roofers they don't do that.
Yep.
They don't want to spend the $50, a month times 10 users, in their company to have a good CRM to keep track of everything. They think it's expensive, but, look at what we've done with it. And you want to, you had mentioned earlier on, like talking about revenue. So we wanted to hit 10 million this year and we just couldn't get enough jobs closed out to hit 10 million. So we're almost at 8 million this year. Okay. And so we want it to, but I'm going to tell you,
good job.
Thank you. But if we didn't have those systems in place, like job progress and company cam and, all these different policies and procedures that we created, we couldn't do it. There's no way. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of funny how there are a lot of guys out there that, they complain about having to spend $50 on a CRM. Matter of fact, one messaged me the other day about CRM and he thought it was expensive. You can make a lot more money with it, but it's really strange to me that they'll sell 10 roofs and go buy a brand new Duramax.
Yep.
But they can't afford a $50 CRM that's definitely going to help them, increase their revenue, no doubt about it. So. Yep. Yeah, but I was there too. Until I got the legs, my legs swept out from under me, and then I realized that, hey, I do want to grow this, and I've always wanted a corporate image, and my father-in-law actually asked me. Have two father-in-laws.
Okay.
Actually asked me. He said, "Well, how big do you want to grow this?" And I said, "I want to be able to see a truck going down the road and say, oh, I wonder who that is." And you can't get to that point unless you have these tools.
Yep.
Unless you do these things, and God's a big part of that too.
Yep. So that is pretty cool feeling. Like when I'm out of town, I'm at 45 minutes away and I see that my truck on the other side of the highway going the other direction. It's like, oh man, I mean, I'm not that big, but it's like, man, I'm everywhere.
That's right. Yeah. That's cool, man.
It's a cool feeling. So what is one thing, and I really want to open up a little bit right here, and if you can, what's one thing that you actually struggle with, that you have to battle, kind of like fight every day?
My anxiety. I get anxiety about a lot of different things. Quick situations that come up that are stressful. I'm not good at dealing with them. I need more time typically.
You get paralyzed?
I get paralyzed pretty easily. Yeah. If it's something that's not on the schedule or something that comes up and, especially something that maybe there's a little drama involved, it's an intense moment, I'm not good at dealing with that.
Yep.
The good thing is I have people who are good at dealing with that.
Yep.
In fact, I had a customer call up the other day that was mad at us. He's been dodging us for over a year, was mad at us because we leaned his house. And my exact words to him on the phone were, so let me get this straight. You're mad at us. And this goes back to residential, but don't really deal with a lot of this in commercial. But anyway, I said, so you're mad at us because we leaned your house and you owe us money. And my president, Kelton's in the back, like, just let me talk to him. Just let me talk. So I'm not really good at, being very tact, I think.
Yep.
And then I have pretty bad anxiety about a lot of things, you know, to be honest with you. So
Yep.
those are my two pretty big weaknesses.
Okay. I think it's good for people that are listening to this show to hear, like, you know, hey, there are things that we all struggle with, but there are also things that we have strengths in our office. So you have somebody that's like Kelton, that's more passive and maybe can calm the customer down, but he also has to be willing to make that phone call, right? Or he has to be willing to. You can have somebody that has a talent, but they're not willing to use it. And you and me, our owners, are like, we're not good at it, but we're going to take the bull by the horns and get it done.
That's
whether
right.
It's sloppy or not, you know? So yeah, use your strengths. I think that's a great thing. I know you go to a ton of conferences, seminars, trainings, masterminds. You're constantly soaking in information. It seems like you're constantly hanging out with people that are doing twice as much as you. I know you hang out with the Reeds and Jonathan Sherwood, and you're constantly getting information from these guys. What things do you have planned for 2020 that you're going to go learn about?
2020, actually, so there's a guy named Marcus Sheridan I bumped into at the Roofing Process conference that was or that I just went to in Florida, and he talks about adding more content to your website and doing like a
blog.
No, well, kind of like a learning center. That's what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So doing a learning center and doing videos, and then, you know, writing articles to match it. So I think in 2020, we're going to focus a lot more on commercial, a lot more, even though we did a lot this year. But we're also going to focus on adding a ton more content to our website. So, and Top Roof Marketing is doing that, by the way.
Awesome. They do a great job, don't they?
TopRoofMarketing.com.
Yeah.
But we're going to focus a lot more on adding a lot more content to the website, and you know, doing a lot more commercial. So, and really just answering people's questions. Now, if you look on Google, there are so many people out there, even in the commercial realm, that are asking questions about their property, their building, their roof, and, you know, what's best to put up there. So in 2020, we're going to, you know, focus a lot more on content, basically getting more and more content out there. So.
Okay. So it's got a couple more questions for you. What specifically, can you kind of give me some bullet points on how you, because I see you hire some great people, and I don't know how many people you go through to get those great people. I don't know if it's 50 to 1 or 10 to 1, but some of the key people you have are really good people. Like, how do you start that process? Do you use a certain platform? Do you see people and ask them, or do you have people apply? Do you use what service do you use? I mean, how do you go through that process to find the best people?
I tell you what, man, I've hired a lot of my friends, actually. And, you know, some people say don't do that, but, you know, there's a guy here who's, I don't know, 25 or 26 now. And I remember when he was 4 years old. I mean, I was a kid too, but, you know, I've hired a lot of my friends, to be honest with you, and then they bring in other people. So, you know, really just, you know, like referral base, you know, if you will, just, hey, do you know anybody? That's usually what I go after first. And then after that, you know, we'll run like ZipRecruiter ads or something, you know, somewhere along those lines, or Facebook ads. Or, you know, with all the networking we do, it's just, it always seems like someone is available or wants to make that change, and they see our great culture over here and what we're doing, and they're drawn to us. And they want to work over here, you know, they want to work and become a part of the, you know, the Ready Roofing family. And so that's how a lot of it gets generated. But from day one, we'll do 3 interviews. And so someone will not get hired here until, you know, their 3rd interview typically. Or just a good friend or something, and we know they're going to do well with it. But usually it's 3 interviews. You know, we'll bring them in at first, you know, kind of talk to them a little bit, fill them out, see how they are, make sure they're on time, have them fill out our paperwork, take that home with them, let them think about it overnight. They'll come back in next time. We'll review that paperwork, go over all their answers, send them home again, let them think about it for a day or so, and then we'll do lunch and then catch them out in public somewhere, you know, where they're a little bit more relaxed. And then it kind of gives you an opportunity to see who they really are after that 3rd visit. You know, are they in a hurry just to get a job and they're not going to do really well, or do they really want to work here? They're really interested, and, you know, are they being themselves? Usually you can find that out by the 3rd interview. So we've been pretty successful with that.
Yeah, I've had a little bit difficult time hiring a good salesperson, because I've done it for so long myself that it was hard for me to develop that role. But I remember asking you a few months ago, man, I'm struggling here. And you told me, even though we do a 2-step process, you do a 3-step process. But I remember you telling me, you got to be enthusiastic and positive, sell the dream on the first one.
Yeah.
And then the second interview, then you crack it down and say, this is going to be hard work.
Yeah.
And then you get really serious on the second one. So they understand what they're, signing up for.
Right.
I thought that was great advice. It was practical and I could use. I actually ended up using that and hired some guys. So
good.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, and that's the way to do it. I think honestly, just be real. I think a lot of people out here, they want to be so fake, especially on social media. Like you just a second ago asking me to open up. I don't mind opening up to anybody. And just tell them the truth. An honest man has nothing to hide, and just being truthful about it. Hey, I'll tell you right now, when we have our company meetings, I'll tear up during our company meetings because that's how passionate I am about this company and what I'm doing. And so I think just being real, no matter what, is very important. Be professional, but be real. If you're passionate about your company, heck yeah, cry for your company. Why not? Yeah, I do it. I know that sounds crazy. Everybody's thinking, "Oh my gosh, he cries for his company," but I do because I'm so passionate about it. I have really passionate speeches, and that they're really near and dear to my heart. With forming this company, and I try to incorporate that into every bit of it.
Yep.
When I can,
Yep. I'm glad you like that, or you talked about being transparent, because when you're talking about hiring people, I think one of the main things that I struggled for a long time, at least growing the office part of it, was I had a hard time hiring people that, how do I want to say, were smarter than me, or hiring people that were better than me or more talented than me, not because I thought I was smart. It was because I didn't think I deserved that person. Or I thought, why would they want to come work for me? My company screwed up.
Yeah.
I got a guy right now that he used to be he's my production manager. He used to be a store manager for two ABC supply companies. And, 2 years ago, I'd have been like, why would he want to work for me? Like, what do I have to offer him? I can't pay him that. I don't have a compensation. I don't have all this stuff to draw that type of person. But I had to get through the mindset of saying, why wouldn't he want to work for me? I mean, we got great things going on here. And if he worked here, imagine how much even better he could make it here, what he could do here with this. And once I started changing that and actually having that persona in my interviews, it lit up. And now all of a sudden people are like, I'm like, yeah, of course people would want to work with me.
Yeah, so, your empire, man. Well, you gotta work at Empire.
That's right. That's right. And I love that, the way you do that with Ready Roofing. It's the culture just embodies that idea of, we're doing great things here. You can be part of it. And
that's
drawn to that.
And I tell people too, I'm like, during the interview process, because we interview a lot of people that have never done roofing sales, and I'll ask them, hey, have you ever made over $100,000 a year? Most people haven't. And I start getting them, excited about it. It's true. You can make a lot of money, in this industry. You can. Yep. And I make them very aware of that. Yep. And I tell them, hey, you can make a lot of money doing this, and this is a great place to do it. We're a family over here. We got a great culture built up. It's taken on, this whole time, 2 or 3 years to do this. And, and by the time the third interview rolls around, they're extremely comfortable. But
yep. Well, good deal. I got to ask you a couple questions on the close. So what's your favorite pastime to do? Extracurricular activity?
I like shooting guns.
Okay.
Yep.
Favorite sports team?
I don't watch sports.
Neither do I.
Roofing. The roofing Olympics.
That's right. Good answer. I already know the answer to this one. Tesla truck, yes or no?
We pre-ordered 2 of them, so I would definitely get it, but I don't really like the design of it, to be honest with you.
You have a different objective than most people that are buying the Tesla truck.
Yeah, I want to use it for advertising purposes.
Yep. Yeah. So, okay. So thank you for joining us today, Justin. Any closing comments or maybe a word of advice you'd give to somebody that's just starting out a roofing company in 2020?
I would say you can do it and save your money. Be very realistic. Keep everything near and dear to your heart, and don't go sell 10 roofs and buy Duramax. Yep.
When I first started out, my dad said, right now it's a good economy, but there's always a bad economy behind it. So make sure you save up for it. I started in 98, just before the bubble burst. And I didn't really take his advice as well as I should have, but yeah, so we're in a good economy, but yeah.
Eat well, and we need to get all we can, while it's good. So.
Yep, for sure. Well, thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Your enthusiasm and is just always it's invigorating and bleeds off on me, and I like to hear that. So glad things are shaking up down there in Raleigh, and you're doing a good job down there. It's Raleigh, right?
Yeah,
Raleigh area.
Yep. Well, we're in Clayton, but it's 10 minutes from Raleigh.
Yep. Okay. Well, thanks for having me on the show, and I really appreciate it. And if you want to give anybody your contact information or how they can get a hold of you if they have a question or.
Yeah, absolutely. You can reach me at justin@readyroofing.com, or you can call me at 919-355-4297. And also, Messenger is a great way to contact me too. I offer advice to people who even maybe consider competition. I don't think there's any competition out there. I want to help everybody grow, even if you're right next door. So
Exactly.
Hit me up on Messenger. I'm always happy to help.
Exactly. That's a unique perspective that not very many roofers are doing nowadays, but I love it.
We can't do all the roofs.
No, we can't. No, we can't.
You've been listening to the Rocket Roof Show podcast. Be sure to subscribe through your favorite podcasting platforms such as iTunes or Google Play to get the latest episodes as they are launched. For more, please follow us on social media or visit our website at rocketroofshow.com. We look forward to joining you here again soon at the next launch.